in front of Leisure Time Bowling and in Sweetwater.
All right, and that's happening right now. We have invited Dr. Russell Dyer, this official now. Dr. Dyer, of course, Director of Cleveland City Schools. Now, Cliff Eason, what is your official title?
Student and Facility Support Specialist.
Okay, whatever. And then we have, I'm kidding, then we have my longtime friend Cliff. Then we have Cleveland Police Chief Mark Gibson. Dr. Dyer, I want to begin with you because just to retrace a little bit here, at about 5:30 a.m. yesterday morning, we received word with the public that Cleveland City Schools was shutting down. Just take me through the lead up there, and you just take it from here.
Sure. So starting on Wednesday night, I was at church, came out of church, phone started really just going crazy with text messages, and found out that some of our schools were starting to receive emails that were just a little suspicious, a little bit outside the ordinary, a little different than what they would normally receive, and it created some worry amongst those principals who were getting those emails. And that started really around 8 o'clock and progressed until we had about 6 schools that received those emails, probably about 11:15, 11:30 that night. So at that point, we as a cabinet team, leadership team for the school system, decided, in consultation with Mr. Eason and others, and with law enforcement too, anytime we get something that we can consider suspicious, especially dealing with a possible threat, we take a lot of different precautions and work closely with the police department to make sure we're covering bases. If it's only a certain school or a certain event, we may have extra SROs or extra police officers come and monitor. But it got to a point where when we had 6 schools that had received those, it was too hard to add extra coverage. There's only so many police officers. There's only so much that we can do as a central office to spread out our folks to go out into schools. So late that evening, the decision was made to cancel school the next day to give our staff time to really think through what we have so far, and also give the police department time to do an investigation and hopefully come up with some answers so that we could maybe open back up today, which of course we are. So it all happened that night. A very busy evening on Wednesday night, going in late into the night, and then starting early the next morning, we were back up and started with those early calls. 5:19 a.m. it went out. Our closing statement went out to our staff. Right about 5:30, it went out to the community. 5:33, I got a text from you, and so we just really were getting after it as quickly as possible. We do not like calling school off the morning of a school day. It's hard for everyone. I understand that. But in this case, safety had to become the first priority, and we were working again in consultation with police to make sure we're making the right call to keep our students and staff safe when we didn't exactly know what the situation is we were dealing with.
We're joined by Dr. Russell Dyer, Director of Cleveland City Schools, Cliff Eason, who this is his area of expertise, along with Mark Gibson, Cleveland Police. I want to go to you, Cliff, because so your side of this and what you're doing now with the city, what was your first take on all this?
Well, I was concerned, obviously. We took it seriously. We really did. And I would just really want to brag on Cleveland Police Department, because we were on the phone with them from about 8 o'clock Wednesday night and almost constantly until about 3 o'clock Thursday afternoon. Either talking on the phone or texting or doing virtual calls or something like that. Sergeant Corey Fox has just been great through this whole situation. He has taken my calls repeatedly. They have really just done a fantastic job, and I just appreciate their hard work with this. They've helped us work through scenarios. As we would get more information, they would give us some tips about maybe what to look for, what to do on campuses and so forth. And that's the kind of thing that they do for us every day, to be honest with you, not just in this situation. We've had a long-standing relationship with them and work with them on a regular basis throughout the year, and it's just been a real good relationship. I appreciate their hard work.
One reason I definitely wanted to have Chief Gibson in, Cleveland Police Chief Mark Gibson, is that, and you're, I mean, my Lord, your guys are such an important part of this. So let's pick you up with this story here and where it went when you guys found this out.
Well, we started, like Dr. Dyer said, the conversation started on a Wednesday night and went into Thursday morning. So really, this is one of those things that we've been prepared for. These are things that we prepare for and understand what our roles are. Our school resource officers, we've got school resource officers that have been 20 years plus, and it's structured very soundly to deal with situations like this. So the problem on these types of situations is you take it very serious. Everything is concerning. You think a worst case scenario, and then you try to look at the probabilities of how valid this concern or threat is. But you got to do that and have those safety measures in place. The communication with the schools is outstanding, and that partnership is really strong. I just came out of training from a case study with Parkland school shooting in Florida. And that was one of the key components of the issues was communications with the schools. And I tell you, we're very fortunate. And I don't think people realize that Cleveland City schools, Bradley County schools were used as models to develop the new state laws on school safety. Our agency was involved in the MOUs with this, developing the MOUs with the schools. So we have a very solid program. So our concern was starting to look at what do we need to do, how do we need to approach it, and then our first concern was let's find the origin of the emails, and as we start working on that, they had to make critical decisions on the school safety aspect of it, and unfortunately closing the school for that day was one of those recommendations that needed to happen.
I want to stay with you, Chief, because and so many people were, I don't know, surprised, shocked when the press release came out from EB West yesterday that a 9-year-old boy, a student in the Cleveland City school system, has been implicated in this. I know it's an active investigation. I know you can't say a lot. However, I'm just asking in plain English, how in the world does something like that happen?
Well, that's unfortunately the world that we live in.
Yeah.
And this is. I can't say it wasn't surprising, but you never know what's going to be on the other end of those emails, or who's going to be on the other end of those emails, and that's what is so complicated about these types of investigations is we just don't know who we're dealing with at the time, and it's almost weird in some sense. It was relief that that's who it was, because we feel very confident that he didn't have the means to carry out any type of mass violent threat, but we also are concerned with how this happens, and it's just complicated world. It's a complicated set of circumstances, and that's what you get into with these situations. You don't know what you're going to be dealing with.
Okay, and then I'm going to stay with you. One final question for you, Chief, and that is, what can you tell us about the investigation? I know your press release from EB said yesterday it is an active investigation. Where are we? What can you tell us?
Well, I can just tell you that we are turning over every stone after the facts. Now that we're able to kind of step back, take a breath, we want to look at every aspect of this. We're sure that this was a kid that was acting alone. Our concern now is the what happens with him afterwards. We get involved in a court system and activities like that. We do still go through these emails and look for things that are looking for things in the emails that make sure that there's not something we're missing. We just now have time to sit back and look at the whole case and make sure we did everything we could do. We'll debrief. We'll talk about how we handled things, what went well, what didn't go well, what things we could do better, what things that we could improve on, and that is every single day. Every incident we deal with at the schools, because we deal with incidents at the schools, minor incidents most of the time, but we always try to learn from it. Communications with the school system, how we can help them and how they can help us, and it's almost, I look at it like a co-parenting plan almost. So we work together to try to put forth our best effort for the safety of the kids. And
really, and the feedback we received yesterday was from Bradley County parents. And Bradley say, hey, look, and this is, of course, before we knew anything, what about us? And it's great. And I'll say this, it's great that the county and the city work so well together. I mean, that's good for everybody.
Yeah, and we communicated with Sheriff Lawson early on, and our school resource officers had come into work. They were working on helping our detectives work on this case, but they were available, and so we sent them to the county schools as a precaution, and we didn't receive anything or see anything that had us concerned with the county schools, but we sent our people there, and that partnership was great. That's always, they have a great SRO program and a great program as well.
Dr. Russell Dyer, Director of Cleveland City Schools, your comments on the results thus far of the investigation and the press release from Cleveland Police.
Sure. Well, I will say again, like Chief Gibson said, we have a great relationship, and that's fortunate. I talk to superintendents often that do not have a great relationship with their law enforcement agency, and that's an important part of this because we have to work together when these kind of cases come. So we do work closely together. We work closely with the county and want to make sure that we're doing everything we can. In this particular case we're dealing with now, this appears to fall under a zero tolerance policy for Cleveland City Schools. So there are state laws that deal with zero tolerance. An added section to that law was put in place under the last General Assembly dealing with threats of mass violence, and so it appears to me at this point that would fall under that policy, which does call for a 1-year expulsion from school, and we're going to be pursuing that. The principal actually starts that process, and there are investigations on our side. There are 2 separate investigations. The police, they handle a prosecutorial type of investigation. We handle one that deals with school board policy, so that comes under us, but always law enforcement goes first, and then we will follow it with our own investigation, and that'll lead us to which policy violation might have taken place. But that's where we are now. We'll be diving into that, but more than likely this will fall under a zero tolerance offense.
Cliff Eason, your comment on this investigation.
Just that this is a great community, Steve. One of the first calls that I got Thursday morning was from Scotty Hernandez in the county. And Scotty was calling to see if there was anything Bradley County could do to help us, also to share information with them as to what we knew about this situation in case there was any type of threat to Bradley County, which there was not. Also heard from EMA. EMA called to see what they could do to help us. We've just got some great relationships built within this county, and a lot of great first responder agencies that are just doing a fantastic job that really make our lives easier and more safe at Cleveland City Schools.
I want to ask a question I have to ask, and you probably can't answer it. Is there anything you can tell us, any one of you, about the contents of the email? Anything?
Well, I just tell you that they were concerning. They didn't specifically list any means or method that they would carry out an act, but they were threatening in nature and concerning, and that's all the information we have on those right now.
Okay. I want to completely switch gears, and I want to go to a couple of notable deaths this week. It's been a hard week. Olivia Weatherford, a student at Candies Creek Cherokee Elementary School. Dr. Dyer, you sent out a beautiful statement, I thought, a couple of days ago. Just your thoughts as we head now into a visitation time. And
right.
Let me say again, if you don't know, visitation for Olivia will be tomorrow at First Baptist, noon until 5, the funeral at 5. They're anticipating, obviously, a large crowd. We're going to stream that on mixtv.tv, the funeral tomorrow. Dr. Dyer.
Yeah. Well, as you know, I mean, the Weatherford family is a special family in this city. You know, we have rallied around Liv and all the different components of following her health over the last 4 years and just her life. I mean, I got the opportunity to see her in a school setting, and there's a picture that I guess was taken last year during one of the costume days. I was dressed as an astronaut, and she was dressed up, and another student. We took a picture at Candies Creek in the hallway, and just her laughter, her life, and watching her through all the adversity she was going through, she was living life, and that's something I think we can take from this experience. There's so much sadness and hard times right now dealing with a death of a 9-year-old, But I think you can learn a lot from a 9-year-old girl as well, in the life that she lived and the inspiration she gave to all of us and how we can live our lives. So at Candies Creek, where she was in school, they did have a plan in place, and they enacted that plan on the news of Olivia's death, and there were some students and staff that really had a hard time, of course, with that. We had extra counselors on staff. We had extra folks that were there to assist and work with that. But yeah, it's a sad time in the community for sure. But at the same time, I saw Aaron's post last night, the visitation and funeral. They really want to celebrate her. And I think that's a great way to do this, and it's something that we're going to be looking forward to being part of as well.
Cliff Eason, any comment on about Olivia Weatherford?
Just a great young lady, a great family. Our hearts and prayers go out to that family, and like Dr. Dyer said, just a celebration of her life coming up soon, and we're just all better for knowing that young lady. She's just
Amen to that.
Just a great support for all of us, actually.
Chief Gibson.
Yeah, I mean, her uncle works at the police department. We've been really tracking her and praying for her, and it's just one of those things. This is a difficult time, but it also transitions to celebrate her life and celebrate what she means to this community and bringing this community together. I saw the 2 billboards coming in with the Live campaign on it, and you look at it and Live Like Live, and it's one of those things that reminds you that how precious life is, and that you've got to take every moment and enjoy it and celebrate, and you want people to celebrate what you meant to them and how they remember you.
And there was another, and my friend Andrew Thompson, who played football at Cleveland High School for Benny Monroe. He played baseball. I guess at that time it would have been Danny Carson at Cleveland High Baseball. And Andrew graduated in 1993. From Cleveland High School. He passed away. His visitation, by the way, begins at 3:30 today at Jim Rush Funeral Home on North Ocoee Street. And it's going to go on, really, the family says, until they're done, basically. My heart hurts this morning for one of the great friends of Cleveland City Schools, and really everybody who needs them, Andy Thompson and Linda, who is a longtime educator in Cleveland City Schools. Cleveland Tire Center, and of course Sister Elizabeth, who taught for years in the city system, along with Michelle and the whole family. I've been communicating a lot with Heath Davis, but guys, that's another major loss.
It is, and our hearts go out to that family as well. It's a tough season, and it's somebody that really poured a lot into Cleveland's, not just Cleveland High School, but Cleveland City Schools and this community, and his family has as well. So we definitely appreciate all that he has done, and the family will continue to do. At the same time, we also our hearts and prayers go out to that family during this hard time.
It's a tough time, gentlemen. Thank you for coming in. I thought it was very important. Just to basically reconstruct, but also give us a current situation on what happened yesterday with the closure of Cleveland City Schools. Dr. Russell Dyer is the director of Cleveland City Schools. Cliff Eason, Cleveland City Schools. What is your title again?
Student and Facility Support Specialist.
See, I missed that
I
class.
I like your title better.
Yeah, I missed that class at Cleveland High. Billy Hilliard refused to teach me that. So, and Martha Wattenbarger, good morning. And Miss Cross and Miss Dan, oh my goodness, Linda Lemons. And then Chief Mark Gibson, God bless you, buddy. Thank you for what you do.
Thank you. I
To
appreciate
all
you.
your men and women. All your men and women. You represent
Yes.
a lot of wonderful people. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
All right, very good. It is 8:06. Alison Pryor is on the Zoom. Can Alison hear me? Alison Pryor is. Hey, Alison.
I guess.
She's a Cleveland High Hall of Fame elect.
Indeed.
And your school director is just leaving. So anyway, how are you, Alison?
I am good. How are you doing on this Friday morning?
I'm doing great. And Alison Pryor with, of course, Local 3, and we love